So that's the end of the show. Unless you have anything else to.
We didn't talk about TK and the bots.
Oh, let's get to it.
Um,
Let's get to it. TK and the bots. Can
Man,
you pull up the tweet?
I got the tweet. So Tony Khan tweeted, an independent study has confirmed much of the staunch anti AEW online community aren't real individuals. That's right, fakes. It's a staff running thousands of accounts and an army of bots to signal boost them. Look closely, these aren't real people. Who would pay for such a wildly expensive thing? Research this one yourselves. You internet detectives thrive in these situations. Speaking of wild things, you won't want to miss Moxley versus Willa Yuta on Rampage tonight. Their boiler room staff is going to be working overtime on a Friday, and I love it. Ever wonder why so much of the activity on these accounts is retweets and replies? Like, who actually has 80% of their activity as straight up retweets? He then continued to be entertaining on Twitter for most of the day. From there, alluding, acting like alluding that he pays Brian Alvarez. He's gonna have to take Brian Alvarez's monthly stipend away for reporting something incorrectly, and then telling Brian he can keep the 200K since they squared it away, and Dave will keep his as well. Launching that meme back into existence. All this shit was pretty funny.
I don't know what to do with Tony Khan. Like, are there bots out there? Obviously, like there are bots out there that help stoke some flame during the 2016 election, the 2020 election from Russia. And there obviously are bots for companies to want to push engagement to then sell this engagement as being meaningful for why they are highly valued. Like they sell it, so like that's everybody. But like you're not going like I don't care. I do not care how big of a WWE fan or supporter or apologist you are. There is no way. I don't care. I could talk to Vince McMahon myself. There's no way in fuck he could convince me face to face that like he is not paid for bots to help engagement for it online. Like I think you have to be like I don't know what the level of naivety it would take for you to think that like nah he has never or they have never done that. Of course they've done that.
Like,
Not
look
because
where
it's
a
them,
lot of their
but because
views
like
come from.
right. And it's not because of it being because it's them and they're evil. It's because like I think everybody does this.
Like,
I think every major
like
entertainment company does this.
like we've heard for years about people like getting spots on like for Spotify listens, bots to do that, for people faking their Instagram followers and stuff like that. And as far as like the anti AW stuff, like it's real easy to set up a bot to do what you want to do to signal boost something that is like you give some real stuff in there and you mix it with the bot and then that shit explodes. Like I fully believe like that there's like if something is important as an election, this could get used for, right? Like you telling me that like someone in a much lower stakes situation like that professional wrestling is compared to politics, like you telling me that they wouldn't do this to like we know they pay for fast national numbers to troll them with to release on weeks that the numbers may be low, and then they disappear on weeks like this, like when Rampage did 600K and 0.25 in the demo. We didn't get any fast nationals this week. So do I believe that there's something possibly like this? Yes, I do. It's fun to laugh at. I think a lot of the people that have proclaimed themselves to be anti-AEW have taken up calling themselves bots now.
Right. Because they're like offended because like they think that Tony Khan is saying like people that criticize him are non-real people. But it's like, nah, what he's saying is that like the people is that there are fake accounts or dummy accounts, if you will, or you want to call it, that are retweeting and replying and adding engagement to people that have this anti AEW stuff. And like I think people are like either don't understand it or understand it and are furious to think that like,
You
wow,
called
like
me a bot.
people don't really like rock with me. Like I'm actually like being used. And like I like look, man, like I think
Like
if you're online, I
we've
feel like if you're
seen we've seen people run the anti AEW grift. Like it's an easy way
yeah,
to try
yeah,
to get an audience. Like
yeah,
to like if you're like, yo, I want to. I'm not even gonna name no accounts to signal boost anyone, but there are accounts that have like made their thing. Oh, what's working for Jim Cornette? All right, I'm gonna just do that. I'll set up a botch page. I'll set up a bunch of different ones to retweet each other. I'll clip stuff out of context. Like we've seen all these people do these
yep,
things.
yeah. And it was just funny seeing like all the hit dogs holler.
Yes.
It was really fun, and I was just like, because one for me is like I'm not anti WWE. I'm anti like stuff I think is crummy, right? Like when NXT is like, I'm not one of those people that think like NXT is completely different from WWE. It's like, nah, they were more or less doing like a version, indie version of what WWE would do, right? But whatever. Like when they come out here and they have like the night ones or uh Becky Bianca's, I praise them like you just heard me the week before. Like when they're out here and they do like lame matches like Ronda in Charlotte, then I'm going to say that shit sucked. And unfortunately, like they have a bad ratio right now. Like and I always hope it turns around. Like the reason why we review these pay-per-views, I can't drag you almost kicking and screaming to do these reviews every month. It's because like there's no reason why they can't have a good show. I just saw them have a good WrestleMania night. Like, there's no reason why they can't be what they do on pay per view. They just don't because they got someone that's fucking up their storylines left and right. Who's the head booker, which stinks. But yeah, like, so people that were mad is like, at first I was like, my initial reaction was to be like, yeah, I think I'm gonna need to hop off of here because I don't want to see none of this shit. They ain't gonna like how he reacts. I don't. They're not gonna react fond to this. And I was like, I don't know how. And then like I saw them all call themselves bosses. Like, oh, you misunderstood what he was saying. Okay, I'm in. I'm in. Like y'all are just so mad y'all didn't even realize what he was saying. Okay, I'm in here. So like, what were your favorite things that you saw?
Oh man,
Just
I
them calling themselves bosses or more?
I think the whole thing with them calling themselves bots, people proclaiming that they are anti AEW openly now. At least like they're willing to put their name on it
Yeah, they told themselves
to be offended by this or whatever.
Yeah.
These people that swear up and down, they're just like, oh, they don't even care about AEW or anything like this. It's like it's just funny.
You care enough to apparently consider yourself to be anti. That's weird.
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah,
I like pro wrestling. I'm anti a pro wrestling promotion. Okay.
yeah.
What did they do? They didn't do wrestling that I like. All right. I mean, I can somewhat understand it. Like, I mean, there's a
They
lot of
said
stuff.
mean things,
They keep talking about the wrestling that I watch being bad. Oh, so they're working? They're actually like friends with most of the people that are on this roster? Okay.
Yeah.
All
There's just, I think the funniest thing about it was some of that stuff with Dave and Bryan that Bryan was talking about it, and then Tony Khan replying to Bryan Alvarez about like docking his pay and shit like that, and it was all like kind of to promote Rampage, it seemed like.
Yes, it
And
was.
the whole thing was like Tony Khan can tweet anything and then just make it 10 times funnier by saying Rampage tonight at the end of it. Like,
Well, the first time he did that shit, that's what got him in trouble because it's like, oh, you want to say this about Big Swole and then say Rampage tonight? Okay, I see what you're doing, but like,
yeah,
but yeah, I guess that's his thing. Like,
yeah.
this is all the way to get you, stoke some controversy to then try to draw eyes to Rampage. Like, it makes you wonder, like, because I feel like he does it with Rampage more than he does it with Dynamite. Do you feel like he like is concerned about that number, even though like the time slot should dictate that like what that number is more than what more than?
I think he's definitely become conscious of like the competition that's around Rampage, which is why you saw, the Blackpool Combat Club get thrown to Rampage last week, and it was like they popped a number, and then like Hangman Texas Death Match title match, Adam Cole this Friday, like they are conscious of like the heavy competition that was around playoffs are about to start.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, we have no like room to sink because we're constantly reproving our value every week. It feels like just in time to have like no weeks, when it's time to get that next TV deal. And there's like a merger going on with like Discovery and Time Warner. There's a lot of stuff like in the air. So I think he's just trying to make sure every week is as solid as possible and really start using Rampage in the way that, I think a lot of people envision Rampage to be used. I think it's still like, for like when usually it's like 1 hour, it's like a breeze to watch every week or whatever. And it's really enjoyable. That time slot is difficult to deal with. And now this next coming week, I believe Rampage is at 7 p.m. and it's live.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's even being like even more. So it's like, I think he is conscious of that, like Rampage needing like the promotion and the matches.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I looked it up. We were talking about where Rampage and the Battle of the Belts. Rampage and Battle of the Belts are one taping.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all one taping. So that explains why it's going on at 7. They'll do Rampage, then do Battle of the Belts after that. Then they'll air it. I assume the next day.
Hey,
so.
and I saw like people like doing screenshots of different things that look like tweets that have come from bots, like that were like promoting like WWE stuff. So like it is like a lot of Roman Reigns avatars, like just
you see a lot of like this, almost like the same exact tweet verbatim.
Yes.
That are like, and it's not like some one sentence thing. It's like almost like three sentences, and it's like
a grammatical error in one of them, and like it that's all the same. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Like we knew this stuff existed. We always knew this existed, but the fact that like this dork verbalized it, it's just like what? Oh no!
And he did. He ran like an independent study or whatever. Like, and a lot of people thought at first that
he was gonna say it on air.
They thought his company did it because he's an analytics guy or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a different company. So like, I am waiting for the day he drops the documents just to see him scramble even further. It's like, deny this hard evidence.
Rich, do you remember?
It's gonna be incredible whenever he puts that out.
Check this out. I know you remember this. Do you remember the day we were all over at my cousin Alex's house, and me, you, and him all were like sitting, we're going through the Mitchell report as it was like the announcement of the Mitchell report. Is this what it's going to come down to?
He's
like,
gonna pull out a book this thick, and then it's like, well, let me flip through on page 532.
Like this shit gonna drop
100,000 retweets.
Right, like this shit gonna drop. We all gonna click on it, and we're all gonna try to read through to find the names. Like, man, I don't care about this. I'm trying to see names. Oh shit, David Ortiz. What? Like, oh man, like it's crazy that we don't give a fuck about baseball no more. We were doing that kind of shit.
Yeah, bro. Like
the Mitchell report was like some standstill moment, and now baseball, when it's on, I guess maybe. Oh man, all right.
Yeah.
Anything else though?
Just if y'all want some real entertainment, go through the quote tweets for that in the comments because, as James mentioned, a lot of hit dogs.
Yeah. Well, I guess I am anti AEW. Well, you verbalized it, not us. Yeah. So